Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the second ever ATSCast, as I've decided to call it because we didn't come up with a name for it, but ATSCast sounds pretty good. I'm your host
Yep.
with the most, as always, Abid here. I'm joined today by Aaron. Say hello,
What's
Aaron.
up, dude?
Yep.
What's up?
I'm joined by Jason.
Hello, hello.
I'm joined for his first appearance on the podcast. ATS member Joshua Miguel. Miguel.
What's up, homies? Yes.
And then, of course, the one, the only, Jude Benedict.
Good morning, afternoon, evening, night.
Ooh,
Ooh.
well, dude,
I
you're
love
Ooh,
covering everyone. I
oh,
like that. I like
Yeah,
that.
Tokyo.
damn,
Covering
yo,
damn.
everyone.
Yo, come on,
Yeah.
base
yo,
worldwide, dude.
Yeah,
you literally said
you-
Mr. Worldwide.
I love it. I love it.
Professional, dude.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're Mr. Worldwide out here, dude.
So,
Pitbull?
okay, we get it. Pitbull. We get it. So,
Alright.
for the first topic, I was thinking something super, super simple. We'll do a more lighthearted podcast this time around. It'll probably be shorter, but basically, when I was saying, "Oh, the ATS cast," my mom was like, "What's ATS?" And I was like, "That is an excellent question." So, guys, us five being what ATS is, what is ATS?
Hmm.
Oh.
Well, I'll lead the conversation.
Yeah, go
I'll
for it.
start it us off, and then everyone can poke holes in my story. So ATS is a collective. It's a group of people, a group of friends, a group of brothers, if I may say so myself.
Yeah, yeah.
It stands for against the standard. That's a definition that most of us agreed on, and we believe it's a statement that strongly aligns with our beliefs and the way we go about the world. Um, we started just as a group of friends who were just, gaming all night long and talking during the day about games. We were just gaming. We were just gamers and friends, and that's how it really started. And we named ourselves ATS for other reasons. It was called all the salt at one point because in gaming terminology, salt means like you're frustrated or like you're angry about something in the game, um, or something
We
along
had,
those
we
lines.
had all the spices as
All
well.
the spices at
Yeah.
one point.
Yeah,
All the
yeah.
stuff.
All the
Yeah.
spices too.
Um, but yeah, it's just a collective. It's just the five of us. It's me, so Abid, Aaron, Jason, Josh, and Jude, and we call ourselves ATS.
Well, I guess explaining ATS to someone outside of ATS is very difficult because it's hard to explain something that seems so normal to me, but is very foreign to other people. Like I see you guys as like a group of, I see you guys as family. So but it's difficult to explain because it's not just like, oh, people will sit there and be like, oh, nah, me and that guy are like brothers, right? I guess ATS for me is a support structure. It's a solid framework. It's a foundation. So it's a group that I can always fall back on. It may not be necessarily the group that's in front of me actively in what I'm pursuing in life, but I know that when I come home from whatever I do, I have this group to fall back on to talk to hear me out, and not on a surface level, but more on a deeper emotional level. And I think that's something that I've come to really learn is important in life, and a lot of people don't have that. So that's what I would explain as.
Yeah, very well worded. I will say that because I agree with most of
Thank
what you
you.
said. I agree on this being that group that I go back to in case I need anyone for anything, really.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, if anyone else wants to jump in, feel free.
I think Aaron pretty much summarized most of us had in mind. Like
Yeah, you did a good job.
for for all of us, yeah, for all of us, it's really a foundation, and it's not something that we sort of planned on. It just kind of happened, you know.
I think, yeah.
I personally thought,
Yeah.
like after high school. I wouldn't be with like I wouldn't be keeping up with anyone from high school. But then here we are, like 6 years,
5 years since
5 years,
graduation, my guy. 5 years
Ah,
since
Five years
about
yeah,
since
to,
grad.
I,
it's about to be
5 years since grad.
6 years. It's about to be
yeah,
6 years soon.
I mean,
We're hitting the mark
it's
soon.
crazy.
True.
Yeah, shout
That's
outs,
true.
dude.
Yeah,
So,
it's wow, 5 years.
mhm.
Yeah, it's been a
We've
long
been
time
we've
now.
been through a lot, huh?
we
Yeah,
have for
A
sure.
lot of
We've
shit.
seen each other in so many phases. It's crazy.
Yeah, dude.
yeah.
It's crazy.
Woo.
We've basically
Uh,
seen
Whew.
all of each other in most phases of our life. I'd say
Yeah.
some of us less than others. Like I obviously came into
Yeah.
the party late, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like most of y'all have known each other since you were like kids, right?
I think I know I knew Josh. Josh was actually one of my first friends in when I came to Safe Hall. Then
Yeah.
from Josh I met Jude. Then from Jude to Aaron, and obviously Abed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
it's crazy.
For me, I know Jude because like I,
Family friend.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, the
Easy
core of this
connection.
group has been like
yeah, fuck.
we've known each other for so long at this point.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
dude, I knew Jude when he was like we were still
Diaper
that
boy,
Grade
one.
one, no?
Cap.
Yeah, diaper boy, dude. We were
Yeah.
still like what, 7 years old? Yeah, quite a while.
Yeah,
Wait, so
allow me
what?
if I may, Abid. I have good
Yeah,
I have
no,
something to talk
feel free.
about ATS. It's a very good question because I can compare it to like people saying etc. For example, etc.
Yeah.
There's an actual Latin definition to it, which is like etc. Right?
Yes.
But not many people can spit out what etc stand for. But people know what the usage is. They know what the actual meaning, how to use it, and what it stands for, like the genuinity behind it. And ATS is like that. So we may have to explain to people what ATS, those three letters particularly stand for, and they've been changing as the group has been evolving. But the meaning is inherent among us, and we don't have to, per se, explicitly give ourselves something to stand for when we talk about ATS within the group. It's like that. It's similar to how etc. As people have accumulated, like as people know how to use etc., they just use the word without knowing what it actually stands for. I think that's a very good analogy to
Yeah,
how
that
ATS is
is a
something.
really good
That's
analogy
that's a really
because
a good.
it's
Yeah.
something that just almost comes naturally at that point, right?
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good take. Yeah, I was not
Yeah.
expecting that analogy. Good stuff.
That's a
Yeah.
UCLA analogy, bro.
Yeah. Shout outs.
So what you mean, bro?
Shout out,
Shout out.
Man's with his third
shout
eye,
out,
dude.
Bruins.
For real.
No shout
So
outs. But
so let's talk about the history of ATS a bit. Let's talk about our early years, the years we maybe fondly and not so fondly look back on.
What do you mean, dude?
I'm
Don't wanna
saying
do
I'm
that.
saying there's stuff we definitely fondly look back on. There's stuff we
Yeah,
definitely
for
do
sure.
not for sure fondly look back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Agreed.
I think
Mhm.
ATS really started 2015 after we graduated. That's the thing to me. This group really formation, like the formation of this group, happened only after we finished
Yes,
school,
that is
which
factual.
Yeah.
which is often when everyone's once you graduate out of school, everyone's
You're
just like, "Yo, I'm never gonna see these people ever again," and I'm so glad I'm not, because it's like a fresh start, right? Everyone wants that fresh start,
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
yeah.
Everyone wants that fresh start out of school because you kind of know who you are by then, or like you kind of know the path you want to take yourself on, even ever so slightly, obviously, or the person you
yeah.
want to become.
Mhm.
So I mean, I had the similar mindset as Josh. I was straight up like, yo, I'm not gonna talk to anyone. Like I won't know anyone. I was so
I just
hyped.
wanted to say,
I think everyone had a similar thought here.
yeah, excuse me, but I just wanted to say, Abed, the irony of that statement, as we explain this, will unfold itself.
Yeah, exactly, 100%. I didn't want to. No, no. Okay, I'll get into my story, bro, of how ironic that thought was because
Yeah.
I think I'm the biggest like I was the biggest advocate of I'm glad I won't have to see these guys anymore all the time because
Yeah.
I already had a predefined everyone has a
Mhm.
predefined notion of who they are in high school. Like it's
Yeah,
defined by your
for sure.
surroundings, by people you are going to school with on the daily, by yourself obviously. And I feel
Yeah.
like that is very much created on a sense of conformity. to obviously what people are about and what they're not about, right? Like, I'm sure there's stuff all of us have done and said that we definitely didn't mean, but like everyone was doing it, so
Yeah.
why not?
For sure.
Yeah, that's just school, man.
That's just
Yeah.
school. It's just growing up. You
Just high
just
school
want to be
kids.
accepted, man. You just want to be accepted. You don't want to be a cool kid. You don't want to be one of those lamos. But yeah, I was very much an advocate for I hope I don't have to see anyone. I'm gonna get a fresh slate. I'm gonna become a new person. All this stuff. And it looked that way. So in Malaysia, after we all did IGCSEs, O levels, whatever you want to call it, which is basically grade 11 British system, right? Is what I. It's grade 11 for
Yeah.
everywhere else in the world,
It's
pretty
grade
much.
11.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for grade 12, we all basically spread apart. So some people were doing A level, some people were doing foundation programs, which is what I did, and what Jude did, what Aaron did. Wait, did we all do foundations in a way?
I went straight into
I mean,
foundation.
ADP, it's different, obviously, but
I mean, no matter what, like after ADP I did foundation again. So
yeah, so everyone did do
foundation.
foundation in a sense.
Yeah.
I think
Mhm.
I was the only one who took like actual like break, a little break before.
No, I
heading
think
to-
No, we all
Josh-
took a
Josh-
break.
we all
all
took a
were
break,
on
actually.
hiatus, to be
We
honest.
all,
Yeah.
I think like 6 months for most
We
of us.
all
right?
waited like 3 months before we could even have the
Yeah.
concept
Yeah.
of
Oh,
starting
true. 3 months.
at the very least.
That is
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
That is true.
But anyway, so we were going into that foundation year or grade 12, and I obviously did Canadian Pre-University at Taylor's College. Shout outs! It doesn't exist anymore, but it was a
Sadly.
great year. And I was going into it thinking I'm gonna go in alone, become this new person, all this stuff. A week before I start, yo guys, good luck. I'm texting our group chat from high school. Yo guys, good luck. Hope everyone does well. Good luck in whatever you do. That's like everyone's saying what school they're going to and stuff, and they're like, yo, take care. I'd say, oh, I'm going to Taylor's. I'm doing CPU. Yo, take care, everyone. And then my man's Jude Benedict Baguio shows up. Yo, Abid, are you doing CPU too? And I'm like, what do you mean too? And he's like, oh, I'm starting next week too. I'm like, no way! All high
Yo, you
pitched
got
and
the pitch
stuff, like
perfectly
so
down, dude.
excited, dude. So
Crazy.
excited. So excited. I was not excited. I was just like, what? No.
Internally
Like,
crying.
yeah, but to be fair, Jude and I weren't the closest in high school. I mean, not high
That's
school,
true.
but safe all. We weren't the closest. We knew of each other, and obviously we hung out a bit here and there, but we weren't super duper close. And then we talked about that, and we went in that year, and I think Jude and I really built up on our friendship. And then I got him on Dota, and
Yes, you did.
that I'm a bad influence. And then
True.
he basically joined
Not really.
ATS, and we kind of went from there. ATS really we weren't even called ATS at the time, but we started like I want to say June 30th or something. Like it was like a
Just,
week
like,
within graduation, bro.
weeks.
A week
Yeah, a
within
few
a
weeks
week
Oh,
of
yeah.
graduation. I don't know.
Mhm.
Aaron was on Dota. Jason was trying out Dota for the first time. And they were like, "Yo, we're playing Dota. If you guys want to join, come through." I had never played a MOBA at this point in time. I was hardcore a Call of Duty guy, and Call of
Yeah.
Duty was really starting to decline, and I was losing my interest slowly. So I was like, you know what? I'll try it out. Not the best computer or anything, but I'll try it out. I was mostly a console gamer at the time too, so I tried it out, fell in love with the game, fell in love with Lena. Shout out,
Yes.
OG Bay.
Shout out.
Fell in
Sid,
love
shout
with
out.
just everything about it. And then I also fell in love with the fact that we were all staying up till like 6, 7 a.m. playing this game together, trying to get better, but never really getting better. And
Dude, we played
There were
bot
100
games for like
games.
2 months.
100 bot games at least.
Yeah.
yeah,
That
we
was
all
more
played
than
bot
100.
games
More than 100.
purely
Dude.
because Josh put us in this extra fear mode of how hard real games were gonna be.
Yeah, that is true.
Facts,
And he
facts.
was like, dude, no, you guys have to play against the hardest bots before and play well before you play online. And we were like, I don't think we have to do that much because the hardest bots, like pros can play. He's like, no, try it, boys, trust. And we just played bot game on bot game on bot. And honestly, it did help because when we played our first actual game, I remember we just destroyed. And we were like,
Yeah.
huh?
no, Because
we
the
had
bots,
z-
the
we
bots
had-
in Dota are good, dude.
yeah, and we had zero
Yeah.
MMR, so we matched against new kids completely, and we just fucking wrecked
Yeah,
them.
500 MMR.
Yeah, we just destroyed
facts.
everyone because
MMR.
we knew how to play
jeez.
our character.
Yeah.
That one character.
The
that
one character
Alright.
that everyone knew.
Yeah. We're still made in mid. That's shout outs.
Alright, just to input, like, who would you? Do you guys remember each other's mains?
In Dota. Oh, we're doing
Yeah.
Dota talk now. Alright, let's do this quick tangent. 2 seconds.
Just a quick.
I know I mean, I was a Lina main. The first one.
No,
Aaron
you
was
were
Earthshaker.
Abed, you were a Clockwork, man.
No. I played Clockwork for a
Oh,
bit,
no,
but
no.
then I got Lina.
Abed
I
was a
found
Lina
Lina,
main.
and I was obsessed with
You're
Lina.
mixed between the two, yeah. You're mixed
I
between
was
the-
obsessed
you-
with Lina because I thought she was hottest.
Yeah.
I thought she was attractive. I thought her character in game was attractive.
And double
And
back
Abed
forward.
had the Sumail face with Storm
No, that was a lot
Yeah,
later.
that was
a lot
later. That was later on.
The
Towards
first
the end.
that's
character-
true.
Jason
That's
was
true.
a Ricky.
True.
Jason was a
Jason
Ricky,
was
man.
Ricky. Aaron was
Yeah.
Earthshaker.
Everyone's Earthshaker or Pudge.
Man's went Earthshaker anywhere. Like
Yeah, facts.
that character
Uh,
did not belong in mid, but he played it
That
mid.
character
every
was fucking meme, dude. It worked too.
And
time.
Josh was.
Josh was already
CM.
playing Dota at the time, so it didn't like
Yeah,
his
he was
iconic
a-
character was TM because he just played and steal
Yeah.
everyone.
Excuse me?
True.
Hello.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah, you don't see a team.
you'd play support for 2 seconds and then be like, "Yo, my kill," and just take everyone's kills.
Dude. It's not my bad, my AD is not doing shit.
Okay.
All I'm saying.
Wait, Jude was Omni Knight,
Omni
right?
Omni
Knight.
Knight, dude.
Omni.
Knight and Luna.
Into Kunkka.
Luna.
Into
Luna,
Kunkka as well.
Luna.
My gift from Aaron was a Luna.
Yeah.
Yeah, for your
I
birthday.
could never
Luna a
forget
lot.
that.
So I remember because Jude was so good at farming, we pushed him into pause 1, and we were like, just go farm, because I remember he played support that one time, and he had the highest farm in the game. And someone DC'd, and we were like, "How do you have the highest farm in the game? You're playing support." He's like, "I don't know, dude."
I was playing Farming Simulator in
I just
Dota.
hate
Yeah.
creep. I just hate creep and get gold.
Yeah, and then we were like, "Just play pause 1 then." And
Oh wait, we can't Slardar, the quality meme.
Yeah,
Slardar.
that was later on though.
that
That was later on though.
Slardy.
Anyway, that's the
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, but I
Interesting.
mean, that's how it started,
Alright.
and then obviously we built on that relationship. I think at the core of it, we were just a group of people playing games together, and we didn't do
Yeah.
much else, which is a very degenerate lifestyle to live. But we were just playing video games together, and that's pretty much it. Everyone had their own lives outside of gaming, and we were doing our own thing. And I mean, we all also met up in between, and we went to cyber cafes and stuff and played video games together. So we paid to play video games together next to each other,
Yes,
which
that
which,
is true.
Which was crazy.
Wondering if it sense power, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
It was cheap, so it didn't matter. We
I don't recall like. Oh, sorry.
no, go ahead.
I don't recall like ATS as a 5 meeting up like back during the Dota days though.
Dude,
We
we
did
didn't
once at,
honestly
Steam.
meet up all together till 2017.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because even in 2016, I think it was just me, Jude, and Aaron, and then me and Josh.
I-
No,
I
no,
used
no.
to meet him after work.
Yeah, we'd like alternate, like I met you two, yeah, you two being Josh and Aaron at work because you all worked like 5 minutes away from my house. So if you guys were
right.
That's true.
free or done with work, I'd just come over and we'd talk and stuff, and then we'd leave.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's
pretty much it.
But we never really hung out as 5. But then
Yeah.
obviously our bond started growing and growing, and then we elevated beyond just talking about Dota and playing Dota.
That is true.
And
That is true.
we became friends. we became offline friends too. You know, we were already kind of offline. We were offline acquaintances, I'd say. We were online homies, but we were offline acquaintances for sure. Except like maybe individually we had a different dynamic, everyone. But I mean, 2017 when Jason came back in May. That's a meme in itself.
Nice
And
meme, dude.
Jason came back from the US in May after like a year and a half almost, I'd like to say, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you
Yep,
left
a year
2015
and a half.
December,
Mhm.
and that was your first
I
time
left
back.
2015 December. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We
That's my first
we all
time
met
back.
up as 5 and someone I don't want to name.
Mhm.
But that was the first time ATS properly hung out.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've had
Mhm.
Dagalbi.
yeah, that Galbi, shout outs. Korea.
Shout
Shout
out.
outs Korea.
Shout outs,
Shout
dude.
out.
What I did want to talk about regarding this topic is something that's interesting, and it's the transition from guys that just play games with each other to guys that know each other on a more deeper emotional level. Because I feel like that shift happened kind of like with everyone at a certain time, and then we all just became a lot closer. Like what Abid was
Yeah.
saying, when we shifted from just being friends that played games with each other, not saying that we weren't friends, but when we shifted from that level to actually being individuals that cared and understood about each other emotionally, right? I feel like that shift happened, and that really helped cement like the framework of our group, and to what it is today. If we were just guys that played games with each other, then we wouldn't be as close if we were even talking today, right? So I did want to talk about that. If you guys have anything interesting to
I
speak
mean,
on
for
that.
sure, I agree with that point heavily because you can play games with each other for so long before one of you gets bored of the game or just the other person.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Because
true.
I mean, that's what really happened with the group, right? We had more people in the group, and they didn't like the game as much. They were just around for the social. But then they stopped liking the game, and then they stopped liking us, and they left the group. Um,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think we genuinely enjoyed each other's company, even when we
yeah,
weren't talking about games. I think that was the biggest thing that led us to invest in each other. For
yeah,
sure, I think when Jason came back and we were all hanging out that entirety of 2017 summer, um, we definitely hit a part where we were all like, she, like this is
yeah,
something more than
Yeah.
just a group of friends I play games with. It's a group of
yeah,
guys that I can rely on, that understand who I am and know that
Mhm.
try to understand them. I mean, like obviously we all try to understand each other the best we can. I
yeah.
won't say we completely understand each other, but
No,
I
Yeah.
mean,
I think
Correct me
we
if
have a
I
I'm
think
good
we
we
wrong.
have a
try.
good idea and good notion of
Yeah,
each
we
other,
try.
but we try our best.
Yeah,
And
that's what matters, honestly.
yeah,
I think
I'd like
that's
to add on.
also during the time
Mhm.
where we also started sleepovers, at
oh for sure,
people.
for
I
sure.
think that
Oh
was
yeah.
earlier, no? I think we started doing sleepovers way earlier, like
Did we?
2015.
But
Not
I think
everyone.
I
So
Late.
think
Josh
Oh,
I
not
would
think I
everyone.
always
Not
sleep over
everyone.
at my house. This was a
I
thing
would
that
never.
Yeah.
I would
I
never.
mean, okay, before even ATS formed, I can easily dot out the connections within the group. So Josh and I were best buds. Like we were homies since 2012 or 2013. Whenever you got back from Philippines after year 8, when you came
Yeah.
back in year
Yeah.
9, we were insta
yeah.
homies and we were just locked to each other. And I think
Facts.
we're pretty much locked
Yeah.
for life at this point because our families love each other.
Commitments. Let's go.
Yeah. Yo, don't bring up the C word. Yeah, quiet. Quiet.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Right.
Anyway,
Uh-huh.
Josh and I were already super super close. I was
June? Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I'd say yeah. Abby and Josh were the
Yeah,
ones who were
it was
really
for
close at the
sure
time.
me and Josh being the closest. I was
Then it
decently close with
was
Aaron.
yeah.
So for me, it was definitely me and Josh the closest. Um, and then I'd say next was me and Aaron at the time. At the beginning of ATS, I would say it was definitely me and Aaron because we'd known each other for 5 years at that point. But we were never close, but we were
Yeah.
never distant. We were
Yeah.
always in that
We never
weird
built off
spot.
of it.
We never
Yeah.
built our relationship, but we never let it go either.
Yeah.
Um,
True.
and then I'd say it was probably Jason and then Jude. And then
Yeah,
that
that's
formation
fair.
really changed because Jude and I were
Oh
the
man,
CPU. I'd say Jude and I got the closest over that next
that
year.
period of time. Yeah.
Um, and then obviously everyone was getting to know each other still. I mean, know each other properly. Let's say properly, because we knew each other as as I said, predisposed
Acquaintances.
notions from high school. So Aaron was that
Yeah.
kid who always ran around all the time. It was had torn shoes
True.
all the time and pants. And Jason was just
I was just
What do I? How
pooping.
do I word this slightly?
Oh man, let's hear
Jason
it.
was
Let's
that
hear it.
weird kid, dude.
He was
Yeah,
the
basically.
he was the butt of the joke, which I mean, kinda is now.
Has anything changed?
Mm, Okay, it was a lot worse back then. I will say that.
Okay,
It was a
true.
Oh, it
lot
was.
worse.
It
The
was pretty bad.
degree of him being the butt of the joke was a lot worse.
Yeah, that's
Um,
true.
I think now we give him a lot of we talk a lot of trash to him, but
It's mutual.
it's mutual. Yeah,
But
he talks back. He
I
talks
think it's
back.
already.
yeah,
I think it's
but for
already.
now it's more reactive
I
because
think
of
it's
the
weird
shit
to
Jason
learn.
says.
Yeah.
It's like at first I get super like offended, but then as time grew and when I actually got to know
Yeah,
you
this is
guys,
just our
it's more
dynamic.
of like it's
Yeah.
more of just like how Josh and I always argue
It's
with
just
each other.
banter. It's just four brothers just
It's
giving
just
each
it's
other a
just
hard
friendly
time now.
banter,
Honestly,
but
that's
like
how
I
I
will
see
clear my part up later. That's
it.
all I'm saying.
yeah.
I mean,
All I'm saying.
Josh was that guy in school. You know, he was a popular kid who
He
everyone
was a
knew.
popular kid,
He was a popular
man.
kid
What do you
everyone
mean?
knew and had like
Most
a
popular kid.
decent friendship with. Like he was a nice guy that everyone knew,
Boo.
and
He
Yeah.
was
Yeah,
that.
man.
that was
He
very
used
much
Mostly
to
you.
see
You
me
were
basketball.
very much
over.
the nice
Yeah.
guy that everyone knew and was funny. Funny. You were just hilarious. Everyone just loved having you. You're still funny. That part hasn't changed.
Don't inflate his ego
I,
too
I
much,
am a
kid.
clown.
Slow it
No,
down.
I
No,
am a
no.
clown.
This
So
is me trying to get him to set up his OnlyFans. But anyway.
I
Uh,
would subscribe.
Josh was that kid
shout
everyone was
outs.
drawn to. He had that magnetism, and he still does. And then Jude was obviously the smart kid.
Still is.
Smart,
Yeah, yeah,
Still
yeah.
is.
reserved,
Still
calm,
is.
mature.
Logical.
You
Logical.
know.
True.
The
I
Mhm.
think
the
mature hasn't changed, dude.
No,
Kappa.
you're still the most mature amongst us. This is facts.
the the
Oh
one who
boy.
does the most duties in prefect, man.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
dude.
in
Oh boy.
prefect, man.
He was a model kid. That's how I
Yeah.
Yeah,
define
facts.
Jude as
That is
the
true.
like a high
Jude
school
was the
boy. He
Asian
was a
model kid.
model kid.
Yeah, what's your
Yes.
That's
okay?
not a bad thing. I'm not saying it's
Thank
a
you.
bad. I'm
Yeah,
just
it's not
saying
a
you were
bad.
the model kid, and I
Yeah.
was
Jude
like,
had the most brain cells.
yeah,
And this is a good reason why I love this group.
yeah, exactly. Nice dynamic, dude.
No, no,
Love
easily,
you too, baby.
easily.
And me personally, I mean, I don't even know what I was in high school. I'd say I was that. I don't know.
I'd say you were a quiet kid
I
too.
was a quiet, nice guy, I guess. I just knew people.
Quiet guitar kid. That's how it
Quiet
is.
guitar kid. That's a good
The
one.
bad
I like.
kid.
That's a good.
That's
The band.
facts.
If
Cause
there was a band,
that's
I
how
would
we
be in it.
bonded. Yeah, cause that's
Yeah.
how we bonded.
I
Your
was the
love for
quiet
music
like
and
guitar,
everything.
yeah,
Yeah.
quiet music gamer kid that everyone kind of knew.
Mm.
I don't, yeah,
Mhm.
I wasn't as popular as Josh, but like, like within our batch, I had a fair share of knowing people.
Yeah, same.
And I think we really looked beyond that person for each of us. In 2017, as I was saying, because that's when we physically hung out a lot more, and I think physical meetings play a bigger part into how our relationship develops than one that's simply based online through Discord or TeamSpeak. Obviously, you can get to know people on many different levels through online communication, but I feel like when you meet someone and you're next to them and you're seeing them feel something and you're feeling something,
Yeah.
it's completely different. And
Yeah.
I think
That's true.
since then we've all really like equalized the who's close to who somewhat. Obviously, everyone has their biases on who to go to for certain things, but
Yeah.
that's just how life is. But
That really is.
I mean, that's how it should be, to be honest. If one person just got flooded by everyone on everything, it would kind of be chaotic.
Mhm.
But yeah, I would say that's how our dynamic evolved. And you guys can expand in your own terms, words, however you want.
Okay, go back to Aaron's usage of the word transition. It's a really good word. Love that you pointed out of the word transition itself, because well, games were a good escapade for us. It really took us away from the problems that were with us at the time. And I think I
Facts.
speak with the boys on this. It gave me an attachment to the boys through these games that mimicked such an escapade feeling that goes on till today. Uh, Over time, we grew on each other's thoughts, we grew on each other's experiences, and most of all, support. To now, where emotion is literally the key driver to our conversations. it's culminated to where we are now, a podcast talking about our emotions. So,
Yeah,
True.
yeah, exactly. I mean, that just proves how close we've gotten. We're comfortable
Yeah.
enough to not only discuss this amongst us, but put it out there because we know
Yeah.
we have
Yeah.
each other
yeah.
to bounce off of.
Mhm.
And
I'd like to add on to like Abid's point where he says like about the group's dynamic. Some people that would, you know, they look at ATS and they think, oh, they probably have a lot of things in common. True. But feel like one of the most defining factors for this group is the fact that our personalities don't exactly they clash at almost certain avenues, more than one.
we're all
So people
yins
that
and
would
yangs to each other. You're
yeah,
correct.
just like
Yes.
That's very true.
how just like how, um people would say I'm very optimistic, right? But literally my best friend Abid, he is somewhat more of a realist.
I
So he
am.
keeps me tied to the ground.
I got you, dude. I am the biggest pessimist
Yeah.
I know.
It's
I'm a
yeah,
pessimist.
exactly.
I'm not even a realist. I'd say Jude is
See,
more realistic than I am.
even
I just take the
But
negative, bro.
exactly, that's why. Even the way I labeled it is more onto I softened the
Yeah, it's
blow.
the fact that I'm correcting you in a more
Yeah,
negative way. Yeah,
exactly.
you're right.
But yeah, that's the group that like I feel like because of that dynamic where our personalities and our outlook on a lot of things clash, it's where we start to open up more on things like, okay, why is it that he views it this way? Why does he have a certain stance on
Hmm.
this? And then from there, it kind of transitioned into more than just games. We start off like, oh, okay. I want to I want to sit this dude down. I want to know what his thought process is. And I think like when we met up for summer over that time, when we actually had the chance to sit down and to get off our computers and actually talk to one another, I think that's where we found out a lot of things that we didn't have in common, other than like hobbies and interests. Those are the same thing. I mean, like everybody's bound to like music, or somebody's bound to like movies or games. That's fine, but to be able to interact with another person that um doesn't, it's very different from how you think, and sometimes there are things that might tick you off that they do. It's very hard. So it's such a huge learning curve for all of us. It still is. It still is. I wouldn't say this group is perfect. It's like everything's still in motion. Everything's still a work in progress. But the fact that we're here now, and with what we've gone through, I think that's what solidifies this group so much. The fact that we were able to accept each other for their differences, and to make it work. Like it's
Yeah.
it's crazy to think about.
Yeah,
well said.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Mm.
I think we had a lot of like in the early stages in the group, we had like a couple of arguments. Obviously, a lot of like, you know, um, how do you say this? Like based on our the first few sleepovers we had, we were still like kind of like um in
Rigid.
our bubble. We're still in our bubble. We're not like
Uh,
that comfortable yet. Then as we start staying up later, and we start opening up ourselves a little more. That's how we start to find ourselves. There are certain topics that we talked about, and we still have like disagreements on it. But I think that's how we found out about each other's dynamics, or like where each of us stand. So that's how I'd say I look at it as how we grow over time.
definitely.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
To expand on that, like,
Hmm.
yeah, definitely. Like, I think both Jason and Josh were talking about how we've opened up a lot more to the world and how people perceive things and understanding how people perceive things because of each other. Because we always, not always, but like we'll have very different outlooks and perceptions and perspectives and things. Like what Jude sees, I might not agree with, but we're open to hearing each other out and coming to like
Hmm.
a conclusion that hey, that's you, this is me. Neither one of us has to be wrong. Neither one of us has to be right.
Yeah.
It could go either
Mm.
way, and that's it. Like we don't have to be like, and not to saying we'd never resolve anything. It's just that we come to a good point where we meet in the middle, and we're like, you know what, I'm glad to meet you in the middle. Because honestly, there's a lot of things that the group has said and presented to me even, and I was just like, yo, I don't vibe with that. But I take it in from their side, and I'm like, oh, that actually does make sense. I understand that
Yeah.
now. So
Understanding and like the willingness to listen to another person
yeah,
without taking offense. I
yeah,
think that's
Yeah.
something we've all slowly gotten really good at,
That's true.
and learning about each other's securities. I feel like that's what really forms a friend group.
yeah.
Cause
Exposing ourselves to each other.
exactly,
That was
definitely.
For
pretty
sure.
much the
Being vulnerable.
yeah, the
Yeah.
foundation.
Everyone just being like a listener is just so like it just makes it more comfortable for us. It's not like one of us is like, oh, we're not let's not participate in this, but everyone's willing to, give their thought on give their thought on it, and like, you know, that's
Yeah.
how that's how we're like, oh, okay, we understand from his point of view and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is very true.
Mhm. Yeah.
Let's transition that into a little more fun thing. What is your so? I'll go first again to give you guys time to think because I never. So the dynamic of this podcast is I come up with everything and put these guys on the spot, you know. But
Ooh.
Alright.
Yes.
Yeah. Hit us with it,
Doesn't
dude.
tell us. Doesn't tell us
it's a
anything
very yeah. I
beforehand.
don't tell you anything beforehand. This is
Yeah.
to
Mhm.
clarify anything, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
We didn't
But
think
it
beforehand.
makes things more fun that way, and I feel like that's a dynamic very much for our group. We do things on the fly, and we work better, I think, under
Mhm.
pressure and on the spot.
Facts. That
So,
is true. That's true.
Agree.
um, what is your favorite memory of the group, and what is your least favorite memory of the group?
Oh.
We don't have to expand on it too much unless you would
Ooh.
like to and air out some dirty laundry. In which case, I can cut it out from the podcast. But
Uh,
Wow.
I'll
it's a,
go first and do both, and give you guys
yeah.
some time to think about that.
Okay.
So I'll do the bad one first. Obviously, the worst memory, honestly,
Obviously.
absolute worst memory was during 2017 summer and having to deal with other people we thought were friends.
Ca-
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Wait, within the group?
Other people who were kind of part of the group,
Oh.
but they were part
Oh
of this
yes. Yes. Yes.
external group of friends,
Yes. I
and
remember.
having to deal with drama surrounding that. For those who know. Maybe we'll discuss it in a different podcast. I don't know. I don't want to get too far into it because that story's gonna take an hour in itself. But
Yeah.
That's another podcast.
Yeah.
being in
That's
the
that's
yeah,
another topic
that's
itself.
another
Yeah.
podcast to be honest.
That's an unlisted video, bro.
But having to be the person to very much deal with that entire situation because I was very much the not the main cause, but like the main reason those external people had a problem with our group and our dynamic. Um, it was tough. Obviously, it left me thinking about not only my life and the way I treat people a lot, but just everything in general. It changed a lot for me. I mean, that even extended on to 2017 December into 2018 summer even. And, I learned a lot from the experience, but it was hell going through it in the moment. Um,
Mm.
Besides that, I would say the one call we made last year in April, 2019 April, where
Okay.
when I was very emotional during a call we had,
Yes.
and I was being very very expressive. I think that was one of the worst moments too,
Wait,
because I
this
was
was
extremely frustrated with, well, not just this group, it was a bigger group, but I was just
Yeah.
frustrated in general with not only my life and things going on with me. It trickled into my friend circle, and very much it trickled down to you guys too, because I mean you were part of it, but it made it feel worse because you guys were my escape plan almost, like the people I go to in terms of need and when I don't want to think about anything. And the fact that I was being forced to think about you guys in a negative way, I was just like, who do I go to now? Like, I don't know what to do. I think those two were pretty much the worst moments. The best moment, 110%. 2017. Was it after Jude's house sleepover that we went to McDonald's at Putrajaya?
Yeah, it was after. No, it was.
It was Jude's
Yeah.
house,
Wait.
right?
It's
Or Aaron's
house.
house.
Was it leading
My
up
house.
to Jude's
Jude's
Whoever,
house.
house? Or
Jude's
whoever,
house.
it was
Jude's house.
after a sleepover.
Either or.
It was
Either.
after
Ah,
either
I see.
or. It was after a sleepover, and it was Jude's house because we spontaneously made a
It was my
decision.
house. It was my house.
Because you guys were
Disclaimer
like,
alert.
"Where do we go or what do we do?" And I was like, "Hey, I have a plan. Y'all down?" And
Maybe.
all of you just said, "Dude, I don't care. Like, fuck me up." And we all just got in my car and we drove all the way to Putrajaya. I don't remember telling my mom where we were going because she would have been pissed if she found out we were going to Putrajaya. She's
Yeah.
finding out now. I'm sorry. Um,
Shout out
Sorry.
Tamu.
Shout out
We love
to
you.
Shout out to
Love you.
we
I
literally
miss your food.
we drove all the way to Putrajaya after eating lunch at Jude's house to have a
Yes,
second lunch
remember.
at McDonald's. And we
Oh,
all
man.
got spicy chicken McDeluxes with large Milo, dude. I
Yes,
remember. And
yes,
we were
dude.
full to the
And we
brim.
got a chicken bucket. The chicken,
Chicken,
the
dude,
spicy
we got the
garlic.
chicken. Did we
Yeah.
get the chicken nugget too? That was when
No,
Aaron.
no,
That's
Yeah,
the
not
chicken nugget
not the
meme day.
nuggets.
That's when
No,
Aaron.
Yeah.
chicken nugget. No, the chicken nuggets were on the way. It was a
Yeah, and that
drive-through
was a
on the way.
And we
meme.
got I am growing too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, that was probably the best memory because that entire trip or whatever you want to call it was very ATS like in that no one really planned for it or anything. It just happened and it was just a good time because we were all together.
That is true. Yeah.
That is yeah.
So let's
And
go.
the iconic photo.
Yeah, our group photo that's been the same for 3 years. We need to recreate that once we all
One
link
day.
up
Somewhere
one
else.
day.
Yes.
Let's go down the list the usual way, alphabetical. So Aaron, Jason, Josh, and Jude. So Aaron.
Okay.
All right.
I'm last every time.
Whew.
Alphabetical, dude.
Do you
Yeah.
want to go
You should
first?
have changed your name,
But
dude.
I did. I changed my name
Change
to
your name, dude. You want to be
Aaron.
Benedict?
A.
Aaron.
Change it to Baguio, bro. Change it to Baguio.
No,
Okay,
that's why
okay.
Aaron's second, dude, because he's AE Ron now, you know?
Yeah.
AE, dude.
Yeah,
AE.
that-
And
PSD, dude.
lower my standing, dude. Alright.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm a bit short-sighted when I'm put on the spot like this, but I would say easily the best moment would be the same as Abid's. That I don't think of that as a singular moment when I look back, honestly. When I look back, I see that summer as one whole moment. Because, like, when I just look back at that summer, I just remember it being, like, so fun. And, like, of course, I had a lot of problems going on in the back. But, like, the summer itself, like, what we did, just the carefreeness, the ability to just go out and then meet you guys and then just go do whatever and then come home and then play games with you guys, that was just like the perfect combination where I didn't have to deal with stuff that I was dealing with at the time. And it was also like it was also a really nice time because I was also able to cherish that for a while because that was probably the last time that we would have something like that, and we knew it for a while, right? Especially with Jason going overseas and stuff. Yeah, so I remember that as being probably the best moment, and more specifically, it would be that day because that day was just fun. The worst moment is a bit more tough. I would say the worst moment would be yeah, the worst moment would probably be either the time me and Josh had a falling out or
Damn.
the more recent moment, which is somewhat linked to the worst moment that Abid said. There's similarities in what we're both saying here. Yeah, it's somewhat linked to the worst moment that Abid was saying. A different time, but the similar issue. And it made me question how I was treating my friends. Because I remember Abid telling me that you're you're not something along the lines of like you're not close, you're not actually close with these people, you're not checking up on them and stuff like that. And it made me question, like, okay, because to some extent I took my friends for granted, like I took you guys and especially the exterior group, right, for granted. And it made me really question, am I doing enough as a friend and am I being a good friend to these people? And I think that for me, that time was the worst moment because I started to question if people that I called my family, I was actually treating them like my family. And if not, what would that mean? You know, what implications would it have on my friend circle? So that was a bit of a worrying moment. But yeah, those are the two for me. Pretty
Alright.
similar to Abid's.
Well, before Jason
Yeah.
goes, I just want to say one more thing. We
Uh,
all knew that summer was gonna be special, and obviously we see it with rose-colored lenses fully.
yes.
Especially more so because we knew I was going abroad and Drew was also confirmed going abroad.
Yes. Oh yes, yes, yes.
And
I forgot
Jason
to
was
mention.
already abroad at the
Jason was
time.
already abroad. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Jason was already in the
Mm.
U.S. I was coming to Canada that fall. Jude was going to California that fall. So
Yes.
it was the last time that we'd for sure for the next 4 or 5 years for sure that all of us would be in the same spot and having completely like no worries almost, to be honest. At the time it felt like it. It felt like we had no troubles, nothing to think about. Um, but yeah. Anyway, Jason, go for it.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, as per the same answer, my best moment would be summer of 2017. You know, it's funny. I would just keep this short and simple, but like, I was not supposed to come home that summer, but the summer after, but I insisted on coming home because I was really homesick, and boy, I did make the right decision. That summer was interesting. You know, it started off really rough. Um, the guys know, obviously. And as time went by, we started hanging out more. Going to Starbucks a lot more often. Shout out Starbucks Galeria. I would love to go back someday.
Shout outs.
Um, yeah, Putrajaya was just something I'll remember for the rest of my life for sure. That's where we started popping, man. We started hanging out so much, and we just had a fun day. The car rides. We had so many iconic songs, like car songs, that we'll always bump to. And yeah, that's definitely my favorite memory for ATS. Worst memory? Um, I don't know if this is considered a worst memory, but maybe is the times that I missed out in like 2 summers ago. You know, not being able to go home. I wouldn't say that's a worst memory. I don't know, but yeah, it sucks. Knowing that all of them are in the same place, and I'm not, and I'm not there. It really hurt. I was really down. Um, but I would say the worst moment, the actually worst moment, was during one of our sleepovers. I'm not sure um
I
which
think I know
exact one.
which one, but go for it.
Yeah.
I have
Um,
one. I have a hunch as well.
it's it's the time that it started early in summer of 2017. Um, and it was one of our first sleepovers. We were chilling and all. Then I was honestly at that time I was not feeling too great at the moment. So I was like, hey, can we talk about some things? So I got way too emotional I am as I am. Um,
You're prone to,
I sat
yes. You're prone
I sat down with Jude at his balcony, and we were just opening up. That's when Jude and I were actually like getting to know each other as well. I mean, we really we really clicked in like year 11 and stuff like that. But like that's when I was really opening up to Jude about some things, and you know, uh, Abid and Aaron were clearly not interested at that time. Correct me if I'm wrong.
to. Okay, I'll
Or
give
just
more
like,
context into the situation without explaining the situation.
okay,
Um,
because I
yeah.
I'll let
my
Justin
word
finish
my,
first.
my my word choices may be wrong, but
No,
you
your
you
word
should know what
choices aren't wrong because you expressed your side and what you were feeling, and that's perfectly valid, dude. Because I knew you were
okay.
feeling that, but like, it was after a situation that we talked about end on end, and we
Mm,
told
Mm-hmm.
you about the consequences of the said situation. And I feel like Aaron and I were just frustrated and just like done with it, to be honest. And but you just kept bringing it
Yeah,
up,
yeah.
and you
Mhm.
brought it up, and I agree with you on the fact that Aaron and I were extra harsh that night. But it was mostly because for me anyway, I was just like, I'm trying to have a good time, and I don't mind having an emotional heart to heart with you right
Mhm.
now. But if it's about this topic and it's the same tape recorder being played again, like
It's
this is
like,
my
come on, bro.
stance. I'm
Yeah.
letting you know now. If you're hurt by it, I'm sorry, but that's my stance, and it won't change. Cause you were getting hurt over a situation that was clearly not the outcome wasn't gonna change, and I feel like you knew that, we knew that, but you didn't want to see that at the moment, and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah. I
fine.
was
But yeah,
Yeah. So that would consider my worst
I
moment.
mean,
I'm
Aaron,
not sure where
Yeah.
Josh was during that whole thing.
Josh
I
was there.
was ex- I,
Josh,
I was
Josh,
expressing the
I
same
know he
sentiment,
was.
he was
and it
expressing the
wasn't.
same sentiment. He wasn't as harsh with his wording. I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
Josh
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
the same stance as us,
It's more on
but he was soft.
Abhinav.
Aaron and I were straight just going for you. We were shooting daggers. We were throwing daggers
Straight on
at
Yeah.
you because
straight on the jugular. Straight on the jugular.
we didn't want to talk about that topic anymore, especially because it was
Yeah.
the situation wasn't something. I mean, it affected you obviously because it's your situation, but it brought down the mood for all of us. And I feel like
It
that's
did. Yeah.
something we didn't want to do. I
But
mean, Aaron, it's
at
on
the
you.
time,
You can
at
Yeah.
the
say.
time it was just really I felt like, wow, maybe I shouldn't bring up some stuff. It was just me.
No,
Yeah.
it's
But
No,
yeah,
understandable.
that was
With a
understand.
yeah,
response
but that
like
was
that, I would
just
think the same thing, my guy.
Yeah.
Hmm.
yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yep, that would be my best and worst memories.
Yeah. What Abba said, it
Oh,
was true. I don't want to go into it because Abid already said everything. I just want to say, maybe in hindsight, I would have worded things differently. But for me, it was a lot of just frustration, not only
mm,
for the mood of the day, but it was also frustration for you, like, because I kind of felt like I was looking at you and I'm like, why is this still, like,
bothering me and
yeah,
yeah.
like, I don't want to see you upset about this still, like,
Mm.
you can't be still upset about this. So it was a lot more
It's just
frustration.
yeah. It's just the
Yeah,
perception that I got was
yeah,
not
understandable.
yeah. It was understandable. Yeah.
Very, very understandable because I remember my words after, and I was like, maybe I shouldn't have gone that
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah,
And I
same,
talked to
same, same.
Aaron, and I were like,
Yeah,
Josh
maybe
talked
we
to us
should have.
actually. Josh backed you up, Jason, and he was like, you guys were kind of
Yeah.
harsh on him, and we were like, yeah, but like he kind of deserves it. And as soon as we both said that, we looked at each other and we felt like
We're
shit.
like, nah.
we,
Sound
were,
like,
we were like, okay, maybe we were a little too harsh.
yeah,
That's when
yeah,
I
Because
dragged Jade out to
Josh hit
the
us with the Insta
Yeah.
like, yo, self reflect. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
self reflect.
Reflect now. Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
I was just watching Jason's ass get torn apart. I was like, what do I do about this?
Yeah,
Wait,
and
that's illegal.
Jude genuinely got mad at us too. I remember, and he followed you to the
yeah.
Yeah.
balcony. Jude was just pissed at
Yeah.
me and Aaron, like, yo, you
I was
clear him
just
out.
out there. I was just out there
Yeah, you
chilling,
started crying and
just
you walked out, and Aaron and I saw it, and we were like, nah, fam, we don't care. And I remember the situation very clearly because it's like a quarter regret of a situation. The only regret is my
Yeah.
wording. Everything else should have happened. But I remember Jude
Mhm.
walked out, and then you came back, and you both were calm, and everything was chill, and we were chill after. But
Yeah, we were fine after that. It just
yeah,
needed some time off. Anyway, Josh.
Yeah. I just want to say, dude, that situation that night, dude, Jason, honestly, thinking about it now, I don't know what the fuck you were doing, bro.
Alright, we move on from that. Move on from that.
Yeah,
What
we're moving on. No, no.
You're
Like,
supposed to
slight
be on his
input.
side, dude. Oh
Dude,
shit.
dude,
why
I
you
was,
why you
dude.
bring
Past me was, but me now is like,
We get it.
I don't know, bro.
Shit.
I don't know, man. Maybe you
Alright.
deserved it.
Yeah, dude, all I'm
Nah,
saying,
relax.
all I'm saying.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Yeah,
fucking
so
move on, damn it.
for me, memory together, I feel like the only like the proper memory we've all had together, like physically, was during the 2017 summer. And definitely, I think that was one of the most like, spontaneous trips I've ever had, or like rather, just like outing with a group of friends. Never did that during high school. Even after high school, didn't really because like after high school, I had the notion of I'm going to Chow. It was nice seeing you all. I hope to never see you again. But here we are, 5 years later. Hello again.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, facts.
That's
Can you guys
crazy,
stop
dude.
following me, dude?
yeah. I mean, like, except for Jude, I knew Jude was gonna stick around because family friends were really
His
close.
mom.
Yeah, that,
Filipino.
but like I didn't really mind that much because I know Jude was going to. He had plans of going overseas. He had plans, all that. For me, I had my
Yeah.
own plans, as well. But here we are.
Mhm.
Nonetheless, I really enjoyed that summer specifically because that was the first time I've actually gone out. Like, I mean, I used to go out with people like other friends, but it was never something like I don't know, straight from sleepover and then straight into like somewhere like in Putrajaya. I used to think that was really far from me. Like, holy
I
shit,
know
I'm
we
going
all
to
did.
Putrajaya.
We all did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
it
like,
was so
It was
far.
super far.
dude, I was what, 16? I was 16, right? I was 17. I turned 17
You
then.
were 17. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, yo, what do I tell my mom? I was like, I was so worried. Yeah. So, but that I feel like as a group, we've experienced a lot of things. Like our firsts happened a lot. Like within this group. Like, okay, that kind of sense.
Yeah, no,
But
okay,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The most of our
yeah,
first did occur over that summer, and
Nice,
yeah.
nice wording, dude.
within within a month
I
span,
mean,
within a month
it
span,
is what it
it was
is.
true. Like
Within those sleepovers, Cap.
May to June, it was we did everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
everything from like over, staying up until like 3, and then driving out, and then just getting food because we're hungry. And then that trip to Putrajaya highlighted it. For most of it, what I remembered was just us. I feel for me, what I always remember is the drives because that's when we all just sit in a car. We like we crack jokes. We just listen to all the music that we listen to. We sing our hearts out. And
Fact.
for me, that will always be. I would say like whenever I think of ATS, it's always night drives, late night drives, or just drives in general. So that really would be one of my fondest memories with ATS. Like especially the spontaneous trip. That was really nice. Um, worst memory? I feel like I've been absent-minded past few years now that I think about it. But definitely, I feel like one of the worst would have been okay. There's two. One where I had that argument with Aaron. We had like that falling out,
Mhm.
and another would be I feel like when Abid, Jason, and Jude they like slowly moved to to the US and Canada because they had their applications ready, and they were really excited. I was excited for them too. But the fact that those days actually came closer and then I had to see them off, I didn't like I reflected on it. I was like, oh, I kind of took some things for granted. For the time with them when we're still together. Like now, I can't just say like, yo, you guys want to go to Mama? You guys want to go to Starbucks?
Yeah.
And then
Mm.
we'd all be out in like an hour, or we'd be seeing each other in the store.
I
It
really
was
miss
that close.
that. I really
Yeah.
miss
Damn, yeah, I miss that, man, for sure.
That's
It
true.
wasn't even that. Sometimes it was just like Mama. It's like, yo, y'all free for dinner? Yeah, bet same. Everybody would just like bet same. Okay, see you. And that's it. We'd be in Avenue
Okay, see
K.
you.
We'd be
Abid
eating
pick
like
us up.
Cap, dude.
true.
You're
Abid
not
was
updating more
designated
than
driver
Aaron
by
now, kapa.
Yeah,
Yeah, sorry,
the
true.
no facts.
way.
I am the
I've been
slave now, dude.
Pass the
Yeah,
reins.
thanks.
Yeah.
And then Abid used to have his Fortuner, remember? So
Oh my god.
it was always a fun time.
Yeah, it will
Despite the
just fun
fact,
time.
despite the fact that Abid might have tried to kill me a few times.
Nah, never, dude. Safeguard.
Yeah. So a lot of those things, those were really like a lot of like not always a big memory. It's more in the little things that I kind of like miss. Like now I can't just say like, yo, Abid, are you free? Can I come over? He'll be like, yeah, come through, dude. It's like that. Now I'll be like, yo, bro, you free? Yeah, I'm on Discord. it,
Yeah, true.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
it's all online. It's all online. So yeah.
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 facts.
It's one of the things I really and kind of like it kind of sucks, but hey man, we live, we adapt, and feel like that's what one of this group does best.
Yeah,
Impromptus
Sure.
and adaptation.
Sure.
for sure.
Uh huh.
I just want to add something before Jude goes on. I want to give a
Go
Mhm.
shout
on.
out. I just want to give a shout out to Wonju for joining us throughout our summers 2017 trips.
Yeah,
Some
Honorary,
of
that is
them
true.
honorary
Big
ATS
honorary,
member.
yes.
honorary.
Always
Agree.
welcome, dude.
The
Yeah,
Sukiya
man, serving in the
Sukiya
army.
trips,
Basically,
the
he's
Norebang days, yeah,
he's
for
basically our
sure.
Mhm.
six man. He's
Yeah,
basically our
Yeah.
Yeah.
six man.
the Phantom
Yeah,
Six Man, dude.
Yeah.
shout out,
Mhm.
shout outs.
Shout outs to
Homie.
Wanji.
Shout
Shout
outs.
outs. Mhm.
Yeah.
Alright.
I'll
Alright.
start with the worst moment because it's the one that we share. I guess that's a
Alright.
consensus. Advantage of
Let's
being
go.
late. You can pull off each other's opinions, kappa. No kappa. But
Yeah, dude.
yeah, the worst moment in the group is that argument the Abid and the rest of y'all alluded to. Like, even though I was not directly involved in a way, like, I mean, I am directly involved due to the group, due to me being in the group, but like, it's just viewing the disjoint nature within us that came from the consistent stress within that time, from my close ones especially, made me feel as if I lost y'all. The environment itself was just absolutely negative, and it's indicative that each one of us gave an allusion to that particular moment as our worst moment, because I did feel it. Um, but yeah, forget that because we moved past that. We're past that now, and I'll point
What the
out
fuck?
two situations I found. One is the my favorite, and one is the one I'm most fond. I feel like I had to share it. Um, my favorite moment is the sleepover. So it's basically the same opinion as well.
Which one?
Uh, yeah,
Which
Which one?
one
the
did
two
you?
consecutive the 2 consecutive summers we had. So I was thinking about Putrajaya, and then I thought about the one with Jason too, and I was like, yeah, both of them were equally remarkable. So yeah, I'd give those two, yeah, a shout out. But I want to point out the most fond memory I had, and I don't think a lot of you know about this except the person that I talked about this with. It's the chat I had at Coffee Bean in Sri Hartamas with Aaron, where
Really?
we talked
Oh.
about each of our lives in the future and how the five of us were going to link up and plan
Yeah.
the activities that we do around us.
Yeah.
That was the moment that made me super optimistic about each other. It was not simply like a friend group where, on the surface level, right, it became more meaningful to me and it became something that I could look forward to. Because that was, if I believe I'm correct, that was at the moment where I was planning to go to America. And I was genuinely like, I really don't want to lose the friend group, but that gave me a huge confidence boost when me and Aaron talked about that. Like, oh, where is Abid gonna go? What's Abid gonna do? Where's Josh gonna go? What's Josh gonna do?
Yeah.
Where's Jason gonna go? Yeah, so it was that's the most fun. And I still, yeah, it's between Summers and them.
Mm.
Alright.
Yeah. That was a nice talk.
Yeah,
Damn.
Alright. So where the fuck did you think we were gonna go, huh? Yo, fess
Exactly,
up.
yo.
Fess up.
Yo,
Yeah.
exactly
I
where we are
remember.
now, dude, in this
I
Discord
remember the
server.
emotions. I remember the emotions, but I don't
You're right,
remember the
dude. You're
thoughts. You
right.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all predicted, 2020 gonna be shit year. COVID gonna
Yeah,
put us on
facts, dude.
Discord permanently.
Yeah.
We live here now, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not the Rift anymore. It's Discord.
Yeah,
Just
facts.
Discord, true.
Yeah.
Shout outs Discord.
It's true.
But
Please
yeah,
sponsor.
please sponsor.
Discord sponsor, please.
If you would like to sponsor the podcast, email is on our YouTube page, but it is
Oh,
ATSofficial2017 at gmail.com. On screen now if you're watching on
Yeah,
YouTube.
dude.
If you're on Spotify, you can hear it through my lovely voice. That is ATSofficial2017 at gmail.com.
Yes. We take parental sponsors as well, so
Any
you know,
sort of
feel free to drop
sponsorship, we're
cash.
all broke
Feel free to
college
drop some
students.
just
Help us
cash.
out in any way
Yeah.
possible.
You know, I don't know, increase allowances or something. Like, you know, we just give cash. That would be nice. Yeah.
Cash would
In
be
parallel with the
Right.
topic this episode, we also take emotional support. So
True.
Yeah, I'm not too
Y'all got
optimistic on
some
that, so I'll take some monetary. monetary.
y'all got some free therapy sessions. Hit
Yo,
me up, dude.
that's nice and all, but I would like some monetary compensation right now.
Yeah, dude.
Nothing
Bubble
beats
tea ain't gonna
retail
pay for
therapy.
itself, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Retail therapeutic.
Yeah.
Facts, man.
Mhm.
But,
Yeah.
Good talk.
I mean, I don't really know where else to go from here. So if you guys want to go somewhere, feel free. Um,
Hmm.
For me, I remember just wanna add, I remember like in 2017, right? Or like back then, we were the notion of where we would be in the future, like 5 years from
oh, that's a
now,
tough
came up.
question.
Yeah, came up.
Yeah.
No, it just came up a lot. I won't get into it, but I'll just reflect over it. 'Cause that's all I've been doing throughout COVID. It's interesting because like not as I mean as much as a group, right? But I feel like individually, I've watched everyone kind of they kind of broke out of their cocoon. Well, some of them slowly, and others on the way.
Mm.
It's very interesting to see. It's very different, as apart from having like just normal friends. But like people like this as my family. It's so interesting to see it materializing. You know, like back then we were all really young. We're all still kind of still trying to figure things out. I mean, we're still figuring things out now, but you know, we're getting a hang of it. We're getting there. So yeah, keep having those. Where would we be in the future? You know, what would happen? I'm always excited for what's in store in the future as well as for this group.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For sure.
for sure, for
Mm-hmm.
sure.
Yeah. I
Um,
think I think one thing that we did, Jason, I don't think you were here because you didn't come back that time. But I really wish you were because there was that one thing we did. I can't remember who was there, who wasn't there, but
we did
to
it
my
twice.
best recollection, wait,
Just
We
the
did
four of
it
the
two
us.
different times.
did we?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm talking about the time where we were at um
Starbucks
eCurve.
curve,
eCurve Starbucks,
Eco.
yeah.
Starbucks
Yeah,
curve.
yeah,
Yeah. And I
Oh
think
my gosh,
yeah,
yes. Yes.
yes. And I think I don't know, cuz like this group has gone through different shifts and transitions, especially when it comes to like importance or the level of like what it does for me. And I think like when we started having really interesting conversations about things we wanted to tell each other, things we wanted to, things we wanted to be, where we saw each other going in the future. When we started having conversations like that, and we started honestly asking each other like very difficult questions, like what is something that I want to tell you? You know, it's like it's not always very light and very easy. Sometimes it's something that's tough and heavy, right? When we started having the being comfortable enough to tell each other these difficult ask each other these difficult questions, and we started really opening up to like a deeper level of understanding or deeper level of conversation, I feel like the group like kind of evolved to a new level where I was like, holy fuck, like none of us would have expected this. I didn't even know this kind of shit existed. Like, the only
yeah.
this is the deepest I've had a conversation with anyone. I haven't even talked to my parents, my siblings, like that. Like to have a conversation that is so like just touches your soul almost, and it's like you go back and you're like, damn, like I can't believe I said that, or I can't believe I talked about that. I never thought I was going to. And it really helped me open up as a person, especially just generally. It just helped me open up because I was able to talk to you guys about it. And when I was able to talk to you guys about it, I was able to kind of be even more vulnerable than before. And I was like, damn, you guys are really important, and I need to cherish you guys. And like after that moment, I was like, shit, I need to like something changed in me as well. That I was like, okay. So I just thought like having the ability to have conversations like that is very, very, very rare. And I've never seen it before, and I don't know anyone who has. But I'm glad that I've, experienced it with you guys. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude.
I mean, for
Those
sure. I think
conversations were
yeah,
hard.
that dynamic. I
Yeah.
first me too on that it was the first time I really experienced it too, where I'm a very closed off person to begin with. It's very hard for me to come out of my shell and just express my
Yeah.
feelings. I mean, we try, we live and we learn and we grow, but um, I agree that was a very like oh shit moment. Like there was another like oh shit, because we were talking about stuff that for sure was within us for a long time, but they were thoughts that we kept to ourselves exclusively, and like things we thought about by ourselves, almost, even if a lot of people thought about it. And that really built us up into what our friendships are now. And I don't think I'll be able to recreate that level of friendship with pretty much anyone. We've set our own bars quite high. If I think personally
Yeah.
Very high.
Yeah.
that like, oh, if I meet someone and get to know
Yeah.
this person, we should try and get this. Like, obviously, it won't happen overnight, but to a certain extent, with us, it did, which is why I feel like my expectations are even higher with people. Because our elevations in terms of how close we got, they were obviously there's a gradual level to where obviously we grew on each other, we got comfortable, but the step to the next one, like the next stair, we jumped overnight or over day. Like it was just a
That's true.
1 day thing, and we just
Yeah.
flipped it. And for sure, I don't think that's recreatable. I don't think I can do that with any other friend group I have in the future. I would hope to, I aspire to.
Yeah. That's
But I
goals,
know
man.
that's something that's very. I cherish that a lot about us, and I think that's what keeps me coming back to this group too. Is that I know we'll be on that level no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, because I was mostly absent from the past 2 years, and obviously, the shit you guys have done, and I'm still kind of, upset, but it is what it is. You know, I wish I went to Good Vibes with y'all, man. That would have been a
No, you don't.
really,
No, that was a different topic. We'll
That's
save that for another time, man.
I
a
mean,
whole
I
other
mean, I mean, I
podcast.
mean,
A
I
music
mean,
festival or concert together as
a
five.
music
That would be
festival.
lit.
Yeah.
That would be lit.
Yes,
I agree with you on that.
yes.
Yes.
Shout outs Abid Red
Maybe,
Velvet concert. Let's go.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, shout outs.
maybe not the festival name, but yeah, generally a festival with you guys. That's something I really want to do. Because I'm a big rave head myself.
Soon enough, dude.
But yeah, and I also want to give a shout out to Aaron, man, for the end of 2017, when that period of time, because I thought we couldn't meet as a five again, but then Aaron came back from his trip, and um, he immediately got off his flight, and he started he he just came to my house, slept over, and had a fun few days. That's the one of the only times I also opened up to Aaron, and we
Yeah.
really had that connection there. The park near my house.
Yeah. Just drove around in
So
circles in the park. Just waited there.
yeah, and just sitting in that playground, that's something I cherish a lot. And I
Yeah.
think I honestly thought, with me not coming back for the past few years, y'all would, move on for certain things. But boy, I was wrong, because I'm always that negative person, and I thought about different things. But here we are now, still going strong, and yeah, shout
Yeah.
outs, shout outs.
Shout outs, man. Shout
Yo,
outs.
I want to say, alright, Aaron did that. Yo, I never get shout outs too, bro. I fucking got off a plane at 7 a.m. from India.
Okay,
And I
okay,
met y'all at 12 p.m. that day, dude, and nobody ever remembers, and I'm
okay.
pissed.
Shout out, shout out.
Hey yo, Abid,
Hey,
thanks man.
man.
Thanks
Abid.
Yeah,
Abid.
you're
Yeah,
welcome,
thanks,
dude.
man.
You're
Thanks,
welcome.
Hey, Abid,
Nah,
you are
Because I remember I
appreciated.
drove through. You guys made me
But
drive.
but if you have to ask for appreciation, is it really the same though?
No.
Yeah.
Now I'm pissed.
no. Shout out, shout
Nah,
out,
that
shout
was
out.
more of a
Shout out.
joke. But, like, yeah.
Yeah, I know, I know.
Uh,
Good meme though.
Nah.
Yeah.
yeah. Damn.
It's good man. You come back again, dude. Do the same thing again.
Yeah, I'm not
Have you
doing the
drive
same
up.
thing again. That was not fun. I'm sleeping and then I'll meet you guys, dude. Yeah.
Yeah. Good shit, man. We've been through a lot. Good times and bad times.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
And a lot of people
Always
might think like they look at from the outside, they're like, oh, how'd they do that? I'm like, haha, You don't want to know.
True.
It really ain't that easy, dog.
There's no cheat code, dude. There's no cheat
There is
code
no
to this
cheat
shit.
code.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah,
Alrighty.
that's
Thank you,
interesting.
boy.
Thank you.
Well, that was a fun topic. It's always fun discussing ourselves because we're all narcissistic to a fault, and
Yeah.
Yes,
it's always a
I
good
agree.
time. It's like always a good time to look back and just remember. And I honestly, I would love to like talk about our group to more people, especially like our parents and stuff, and give them insight.
For
Because I
sure.
know our parents know of our not like group like ATS as ATS or whatever, but like they know of us and each other and everything.
Yeah.
They
And
know they
how
know of
close we
us.
thought.
Yeah.
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 Mm.
But it's always a good time to like show them just how close we are and like how much we value each other.
Yeah.
That's always fun.
That's true.
Mm.
True.
So
Shout outs parents watching.
shout outs parents.
Shout
Thanks for
outs.
giving
Shout
birth
out
to
to
me.
parents.
Thanks for supporting.
Shout out.
Honestly,
Shout
yeah.
out.
Shout out.
You can support even more by donating.
Donating PayPal.
You can
PayPal's in the
donate
link.
Individual
PayPal,
PayPals.
Venmo, Cash
Individual
App.
parents can donate individually.
or using Aaron's allowance. Same thing.
But yeah.
But let's close out the podcast real
Hmm?
quick by doing our segments, our weekly segments. The question of the week, for which the question is your favorite food item at IKEA.
What?
Your
Bro,
go-to
this
food
question is
item at
biased.
IKEA.
This question is biased.
No, it's
Just-
biased because everyone's been to IKEA. You can say a hot dog, which is personally my favorite.
Oh, okay.
IKEA hot
Alright.
dogs. You can talk about the fucking Sunday cone. You can talk about the curry puff at the Malaysian one.
I'll just cut everyone off here, and I'm gonna say, dude, the chicken wings, dude. No crap. Oh, chicken
The
wings
chicken
are
wings
next.
actually are good.
Okay, those are next level. Okay, like,
Excuse me,
yeah.
Josh. I see your name at the second bottom, dude. Can you wait in line, please?
Dude.
Yeah. Last thing I checked, you
For
don't have an
all,
A in
dude.
your name, dude. Yeah. Wait, yeah. Anyway. Okay, I bet. So yours is hot dogs, is it?
Mine is the $1 hot, $2 hot, 2 ringgit hot dogs, dude. Whatever.
Nice
hot
name
dogs.
change, Josh. Alright. You wanna go? You wanna go next, Josh?
I'm good, dude. You take it easy.
Alright. Okay, unpopular opinion. Alright, I know a lot of you are gonna disagree with me. I don't like IKEA food. I don't. I generally
I
don't
mean,
think IKEA
dude,
food
you
is
could say
that good.
cookies too. I know you like those cookies.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So so I don't like going to IKEA for a meal because currently I think it's overpriced. It's also hella packed, and it's just kind of, I don't know. I find the food there kind of bland. But that's just a personal opinion. But the one thing that IKEA does so well is their goddamn curry puffs, dude. Their curry puffs, I don't know what ganja they put in their curry puffs, dude. That shit got me going back for like thirds and fourths and fifths, dude. Like my mom would go to IKEA and buy 2 big packets of curry puffs because she's on that shit as well, and it's really good. So mine would be curry puffs.
Dude, I swear it's
Yeah.
that perfect, like they boil the egg perfect, the perfect
Yeah,
amount,
dude.
and
Facts.
the filling is like the perfect amount of soft and hard. You know what I mean? It's like
Yes.
really good.
And the size of the curry puff, dude. It's so
It's so
they're so
good, yeah.
generous with the
Dude,
sizing.
yeah, it's so
Oh,
good. I agree.
Yeah.
so
In
good.
fact,
Yeah.
Alright,
Mine
Jason.
would be the curry puff as well for sure. Fucking
Hey,
dude,
yo,
it's like
shout outs.
they perfected the filling and the crust. Usually I
Yes.
don't eat the crust outside, but dude, that shit tastes good, man.
Yeah, the
Oh
crust
my
is
God.
honestly a good. The difference between a good and bad curry puff is the crust. I feel.
The
Yeah.
crust. The filling is obviously the main attraction, but you gotta complete the whole package with the crust
Yeah,
and
that
oh
is true.
man. And I usually go there and I get like 3 or 4 of my fucking oh my God, my money. But damn, that was worth it.
But
That
it's
was so worth it.
affordable too, no? It's
Yeah,
like
it's
Yeah,
super
yeah.
it's not
affordable. The
badly
snack
priced.
corner is
Yeah,
Yeah,
super
that's
well
the
priced.
thing. That's what's so good about it.
Yo, honorable mention their
Yeah.
bottled water because it's one ringgit. Honorable mention.
Yo, fact.
Dude,
Facts.
yes.
ain't nobody doing that price water. Hikey. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead, Josh.
I've already said my part.
Ah,
Chicken wings.
chicken wings. You're right. A
I
Josh.
love.
Sorry.
You're right. Hey, Josh, my bad,
Yeah,
my
Chicken
bad.
facts,
wings.
dude.
All
Sorry,
right, Jude.
man.
You're the
Check this
last one,
out.
man. Go for it.
My favorite food is curry puff. It's crunchy,
Yeah.
it's tasty.
As you can clearly see, we're friends for a reason. We're all collective fat ass.
Yeah.
Yo, what were we talking about? Yin and Yang, dude? It sounds like we're all Yangs, dude.
When it comes to food, yeah, we're all fast. It's true.
Yeah.
Like curry puffs, dude.
Curry puff slaps, man.
Yeah.
IKEA US has nothing.
Your honorable mention would be the cookies, huh, Jude? Because you'd always get them.
Yeah, the strawberry ones.
Yeah, the strawberry filling
Yeah.
cookies.
Yeah, that's true.
Jude would
Oh, sorry, not strawberry,
always
the
get them.
raspberry, right?
Raspberry,
Oh,
yeah.
the
So the
strawberry.
berry
Raspberry.
one.
The
berry
raspberry
one.
and
Yeah.
the
Raspberry.
chocolate
Jude.
was
Berry
good
one
too.
or the chocolate one, and Jude would always guaranteed he'd be the one.
Yeah,
eating
I would
that.
never see him buy it as well. We'll just be leaving and he'll just have like two in
Yeah,
his hand.
he's just
One
eating it, and
chocolate,
he's
one
like, "You guys
raspberry.
want one?" And we're like, "What? Where'd that come from?"
When did you get that? Like, I went to buy water. That's it.
Yeah,
What?
facts.
Yo, I mean, IKEA is low-key my home, yeah, so
I mean,
Yeah,
it is for
yeah.
all of us to a
for all of
certain
us
degree.
too, yeah.
I feel like even IKEA was just a spot that a bunch of us just go to for, especially me and Jude. I would say we just go
Mhm.
for no reason. Literally, it's
Yeah.
like we don't want to go home yet. Okay, let's go IKEA. Like nothing better to do, dude. We just go get a hot dog or like an ice cream and just talk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. Good times.
Good times for sure.
good times.
We'll,
Right.
we'll hit back soon.
Yeah.
Basically.
Hopefully, that's the hope.
Hopefully.
Once Miss Corona leaves us.
Let us be.
Yeah.
Rooney.
Oh.
All right.
Uh,
I don't know if you guys have your songs of the week ready. I told you all.
yeah, I do.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I do.
We're good. Oh, prepped.
I do. I do.
We're a prepped
Yeah.
professional
Yo.
podcast, guys.
Yeah, this is our second podcast, dude. Come on. Of course we're
Josh
prepped.
is
I don't know about Josh,
first.
though. Josh kind of rookie.
Yeah, must
You
be
gotta
the
show him
first.
the
He's doing
ropes,
pretty
dude.
well for a rookie.
Yeah.
He
True.
did. He did.
I'm a newbie, dude. I'm a newbie.
Doing pretty well for his first time.
Haha.
Anyway,
You
so
plan something?
song recommendations of the week. I'll start us off, obviously. And first song is off of Juice WRLD's album. Rest in peace, Juice.
Rest in peace.
Oh, rest in
It's
peace,
called
Juice.
Life's a Mess. And
Damn.
that song speaks to me in so many levels. Lyrically, the music is beautiful. It's just perfectly done. And I feel like when this album released, it hit me a lot more. It made me realize a lot more of just how much I loved this dude and his music and what he stood for and what he was. And to think he's gone. And he's my age. So he's mine and Jason's age. He's like a
Shoutouts.
month older than Jude, a couple months older than Aaron and Josh. It's truly unfortunate that he's gone. Like this might be one of his. This is I think the last project they're gonna drop.
Yeah.
And
For sure.
the song
Yeah.
means a lot. His words have always resonated with me. It's an amazing song, amazing album. Go check it out. Rest in peace, Juice.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. The other song, since I always seem to have a Korean song, it's called Uncover by Red Velvet, Silgi and Irene subunit. What's up? You already know. Gotta shout out the wife, boys. You know how it is.
It is what it is.
It
man.
is what
Be
it
like
is.
that.
It is what it
Gotta
is.
shout it out. It's an amazing song. It's a solo by Silgi, which
Yeah.
which like adds on to the glamour. But honestly, the song in itself was amazing. It's an amazing song, well arranged, beautiful. I can listen to it all night long and day long, and yeah, it's a good song. Highly recommend. Take us away, Aaron.
Okay, so my first song would have to be "Live Like This" by Quadeca. So
Hey,
he released shout outs, man. He released the song as a leftover from his last album, and it was supposedly like it was just a SoundCloud song, like it was just a leftover song, but it's resonated with so many people that he released it on Spotify the day after. so the song talks about how it's basically one transition, right? It's the beginning of the song. He's talking about how he feels alone and how that he thinks he's alone and he feels alone, right? And how there's people around him, but he doesn't feel their support or he doesn't feel that they're with him. And towards the end of the song, he actually starts to convince himself that even though he feels alone, he knows he's not alone or he thinks he's not alone. So it's interesting to see like the logical side of you trying to justify to your emotional side. You know, telling yourself that yes, I may feel alone, but I'm not actually alone. I have people around me. And I think that's an interesting concept. Um, the other song is a lot more laid back. I've been listening to a lot of 90s street rap recently. So the other one is Grown Man Sport by Pete Rock. And it's just a car vibe. You know, you're driving, you want to listen to some jazzy beats. And it's just very carefree. So yeah, that would be my two.
All right. Mine, my first song recommendation would be, in my opinion, G-Eazy's best song ever, Tumblr Girls. Um, that song to me hits so different because it's such a vibe. Like it's such a car song vibe, and that's where I would say his best days, man. His best, like his recent stuff, it's like questionable, but like that's when he actually rapped, and like the flow, the beat of it was so good, so calm. It's like one of my stress relief songs. So that's what I've been bumping to lately. Second one, uh, it might take you guys by surprise, but it's We Are by One OK Rock, the Japanese rock band. Um, that song to me is so like it speaks a lot to me, and it kind of defines our group in certain ways because it's conveying a message saying that we are strong together, no matter what. They can't do nothing to us. They can't break us down and stuff. And it's a very powerful song. And the fact that this Japanese lead artist sang it in non-English obviously makes it a lot easier for me to understand. And it's just a very powerful song in general. So yeah, I recommend listening to both. That's my recommendations. Josh?
Alright. Okay. That's my first one. So I don't know. We had to give backgrounds on the music that we listen to, but uh, because for me, when I listen to music, I don't usually look at the background. I rather listen to lyrics. And so one of the song I've been listening to lately, and I just recently started listening to them, is Lave, Lave. The song's called Washed Wine.
Yes,
It's
dude, Lave.
Dude, it's so good. So hopped onto my it hopped onto my what's it called radio. It has a very the band Camino / Laney vibe, especially with the way the intro of the song is. The lyrics as well is I feel it's beautiful. And so when you're listening to this, it's such a good car song. It's such a good song to listen to like at late at night when you're doing work or if you just want to chill. It's it's one of my bops lately. And the other song has been an old one as well. It's 2112 by Reality Club. Oh, this has huge Tomish vibes. And I love Tomish a lot because of just the vibes of his song. It's very beady. Oh, dude, and there's always those kind of how in lo-fi they have conversations of other people.
Yeah.
So Reality Club incorporates this as well in the song. A must. So it's Washed Wine by Lav and 2112 by Reality.
Okay,
Alright,
before you
Jude.
go, Jude, Josh, you said
What's
you
that?
found that first song on your radio on Spotify.
Yes, sir.
Hey,
Hey,
yo,
so
Spotify
Hey!
Radio.
if you're one of the people listening on Spotify, shout outs to you. Also, Spotify, link up, get us that exclusive contract like Joe
True.
Rogan. ATSofficial 2017 at
Ooh.
gmail.com. All right, Jude, go.
Plug it in.
Hi, Spotify, please Anyway, back
Shout
to
out.
segment. Yeah, first, it's Eminem week right now. Not only because he released a new single with Kid Cudi, but like, you know, just vibing with Eminem. First song is "Beautiful" by him, by Eminem. Perfect if you
Yes.
need an uplifting song. Absolutely perfect. Even if you're not into rap, step back and like listen to the lyrics and let it immerse. It's a really good song to keep yourself out of pressurized situation. The second song has to be the recent release, The Adventures of Moon Man and Slim Shady, because
Yeah, boy.
so
Gang.
it's so such a good outburst of what's happening today around the world. Perfect. With that, hi Spotify, please.
Hi, Spotify. We love you. Except
Spotify,
Jason.
we absolutely love you. Yo,
Except Jason.
if you hit us up, yo, we can work something out. We can get Jason on the Spotify, and he won't have to be on Apple Music anymore.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'm a big hey, Spotify. I'm a big fan of your UI. I'm a big fan of your Discover Weekly,
Yeah, but you don't use it.
your
It's an
algorithm. But
He doesn't use it because he currently can't. He's on a plan with his family.
um,
But
um,
Spotify, if you reached out and helped us out, we could get Jason
Yeah,
we
on
can
it.
work something. Hey,
Yo, we can
I'm
work
Yo.
something
always.
out. Work something out.
I can
Dude,
instantly unsubscribe from Apple Music. Hey.
We can work something out. We can work something out. That's all I'm saying.
yeah, for real, for real.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah,
that was a really interesting podcast. Um, again, most of the time, I do not, and I'm the one curating topics and everything, and really running the topics and running the show in that sense, driving the show, I guess. And these guys are almost always just gonna be hit with the topic as soon as you're hearing the topic too, as the listener. So it was fun recapping our history a bit. It's always a
Mhm.
good time looking back and seeing how far we've come. I mean, this doesn't
Yeah.
even scratch the surface of our friendship or what we've been through for the past 5 years, or the better part of 3 years anyway. And you know, we'll be doing more of that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And
Yes.
anyway, I think that just about does it. Thank you for listening to
Thank
the
you.
second ever
Thank you.
ATS cast, which is what we're gonna start
Thank you.
calling.
Thank you.
And
ATSCast.
stay safe.
That's cats.
Yeah, ATS cast, exactly. ATS cast
ATSCast.
against the standard cast. That doesn't sound as nice.
That doesn't sound
That's cats.
Ads cast. Thank you for
ATSCast.
ads cast. It does sound more ringy, but
That's
ATS
yeah.
cast, ads cast, whatever you want to call it. Thank you for listening to us for the past hour plus. Hope you're doing well wherever you are. Stay safe.
stay safe. Wash your hands.
Yes,
Wash
wear
your
your mask.
hands. Wear your
Wear
masks.
my
Take care of each other.
sanitize.
Check up on each other, and spread the love. It's what the world's needing right now. And I
That is
thank
true.
you again.
Peace.
Peace.
Alright, ciao.
Bye.
Ciao. See you soon.